Yo there. In this video, let's go over 50 climbing tips that are evolving the hand and the arms. Now, all these climbing tips are just generally good things that you can do, not things that you should always do. Things to keep in mind. And without any particularly further ado, here we go. When holding an edge, focus the pressure onto one singular point in your hand. This will create tension between your fingers and give you a better grip. To exaggerate this idea, imagine every time you grab something, you grab it with your fingers as spread as possible. That is obviously a horrible way to grab an edge, but as you start to bring your fingers closer and closer together, you will be able to apply more force down onto the edge. If fold crimping, the center point of force is the index finger, and thus the pinky and ring finger, and the thumb should be forced towards the index. When fold crimping, if you turn your wrist slightly inwards, you can place more paddage onto the edge. This will transfer the force from the tips of your fingers more so to the outside edge of your fingers. Straight arms are good for resting and relaxing. The second best is super bent arms, and the worst is an arm at 90 degrees. The best way to hold holds is perpendicularly. This allows you to drive the most force into the hold. This is true no matter the angle of the hold. Always catch a dyno with bent arms so that the bend in your arms can absorb the shock of the catch. If you catch with straight arms, you risk injuring your shoulders or elbows. This is especially true for sideways dynos. Underclings is tension between your feet and the hold. You want to pull up and push your feet down to acquire the best tension. You can grab your arm to help pull yourself up the wall, may not be super useful. You can use your forearms to smear against the walls and volumes in order to acquire more register via skin. A chicken wing is when you wedge your elbow and hand into the climb, creating tension. The thumb is your strongest finger, so use it whenever you can. Pinch everything as often as you can. Use bolt holes, use the creases between the holes and the wall, and also use screw holes to your advantage when climbing. When going for powerful moves, it's easier to pull from a slightly bent arm versus a completely straight arm. So pre-engage the arm before pulling up. There are two ways to throw to a hold. You can load up all the way from the bottom and hayuk up, or you can pull as high as you can and then do a smaller hayuk up. The first method tends to get you higher, but the second method gets you more control. You can pull up a wall, you can push to the side of a wall. Pull to the side of a wall, and you can pull into the wall. It all depends on how you exert the force onto the hold. Big pinches are easier to take if you flag out your index finger, but it does make the pinch slightly weaker. You can crimp directly down on the edge with your fingernails. This hurts but can be sometimes useful. If you grab a hold using just your thumb, you can fold crimp that thumb using your index and middle finger. You can match on your hand to go to the next hold. You can hold big holds using just your forearms or elbows. When statically going for a big reach, two fingers will give you the most reach out of all the grip types. Always pull using two hands. Even if your hands are staggered, you want to apply force with both hands in order to maximize your climbing potential. You can swing your arm like a pogo to give you momentum to get to the next hold. If you have to cut loose from a static position, create as much bend in your arms before you do. This allows you to better absorb the shock as opposed to straight arms. Sometimes campusing is way more efficient than using your legs. Don't get carried away with this one. You can press on your own hand. Actively squeezing your hand on a hold will give you more register but require more energy. Just holding a hold gives you less register but is more energy efficient. You can turn a pull into a press by constantly engaging the down hand. This helps assist you in going upwards. When holding compression, think about hugging yourself. This will help you engage all the proper compression muscles. Only ever pump once when going for a committing move. Pumping too many times will tire you out and psych you out. When holding two holds, you have the option to shift left or shift right before going for the next move. An elevator is when both hands are in the Gaston position and it looks like you're trying to open the doors of an elevator. When falling, you can push your hands against the wall to prevent yourself from hitting any possible obstructions below you. I specifically find this one useful on slabs or super vertical climbing. When mantling, turn your hands inwards towards your body and press. This naturally pushes your body over your hand as opposed to having a straight hand, as that naturally pushes your body up and away from the wall. When pressing, you can completely lock out your elbows and be fine so long as your triceps and arms are engaged. But if you are scared, keep a tiny bend in your elbows and you'll be fine. When doing a rose move, it's typically easier to reach over your hand than it is to go under your hand. You can put your thumbs inside pockets or monos. May be useful, could be useless. To get more reach out of your press, you can go onto your fingertips. If going from a side pole to another side pole, make sure the down hand is still applying force when you grab the next side pole. This will help keep you from barn dooring off the wall. To piano match, grab the hold a bit off kilter so that the matching hand has more room to match. To Houdini match, make sure your fingers are touching and then swap them. You can start a climb with straight arms, or you can start a climb with super bent arms. If you find you can't do the first move, try starting with super bent arms or super straight arms. If it's a two-hand start, you can start with both hands on one hold and then grab the other start hold for a legal start. You can meat hook really big holds and you can meat hook smaller holds. When your arm is completely locked off, you can rotate your shoulder into the wall to get a bit more lift and get closer to the wall. You can bicycle your hands by pulling with one and pushing down with the other. If your arms feel pumped, shake them out. This surprisingly helps quite a bit. Always chalk up your hands. You want them to be nicely coated in a thin layer to dry out your hands, which will allow you to better grip holds. The best way to tape your fingers is to go in the X pattern while starting from the top and moving down your finger. Clipping your fingernails helps prevent you from splitting them, which could take a very long and painful time to heal. Your skin could heal relatively quickly if you don't push it too much. But if you push it too much, then the healing process can extend from 1 to 2 days to 3 to even an entire week. So anyways, that was 50 climbing tips for the arms and hands. Hopefully you found it useful. Hopefully you didn't find them not too obnoxious. Anyways, a lot of them you can kind of ignore, but most of them, generally speaking, you just follow along, you should be fine. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, partner.